Good evening, I'm Jimmy Jojo Johns Jr. the 5th, and you're watching the 10th episode of Dissecting Who. That's hot. On this episode I'll be dissecting the 12th and final episode of the 10th season of Doctor Who.
Who I am, it's where I stand, it's where I fall.
Now I'm going to run you through the plot as quickly as I can. One of the flaws of this ship from the previous episode is like a farming place from the dawn of the 20th century. The Cybermen are coming up from a few floors before to attack and kill the Doctor and the two Masters and Nardor. Bill is a Cyberman! Anyway, my general impression of this episode was... ooh, really? I was actually looking forward to this episode. I mean, the previous episode, which leads into it, was pretty good. This episode, nothing happened in it. The plot was the Cybermen attack the Doctor. That's original. I feel like Stephen Moffat was purposefully trying to incite some type of emotion in people because it's his second last episode and Capaldi's last episode and the end of an era. So he wrote a bunch of scenes trying to make us feel emotion about that rather than, you know, writing an episode of Doctor Who. Good job, Stephen! So it's established early on that Bill's not dead. She's just turned into a Cyberman, but she hasn't really turned into a Cyberman because she's so strong mentally that she can fight the attributes of a Cyberman. And they do some cool shots where they show what Bill is perceiving of herself and what everyone else is seeing, because Bill's perception of herself is that she is just normal Bill and in fact not a Cyberman. That is really interesting and shot really well. I just think at this point it would have been way better off if Stephen Moffat just had actually taken a risk and Bill was actually dead, because it's just kind of a cop-out in my opinion, you know? It's like, oh, we'll introduce this companion and this will be our first season and we'll kill her off at the end and that'll be really impactful. Well, it would have been, but her death isn't really death, it's a cop-out. Anyway, I'm just gonna go straight into spoilers, I don't give a fuck! The wet lady from the first episode who Bill had a lesbian relationship with come and bails her out at the end and they go flying through the galaxy and live happily ever after. Yep, that's what I wanted to see. Alright. There's this really funny scene which, like, first of all broke me into the mindset that this episode really wasn't gonna do it for me. And basically Missy knocks the Doctor out with her umbrella and the Doctor's like, oh! And the two Masters are like high-fiving, like, duh! And while the Doctor's falling, he falls onto a computer and he quickly like keyboard mashes. He's like, oh! And he changes the Cybermen's programming so they don't just hunt humans, they also hunt Time Lords. And right at that point I'm like, oh, the execution of it is comical where it shouldn't be, and the writing just seemed really lazy and stupid. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? We're doing this? Alright. Also, throughout this scene, they're using the sonic screwdriver like a gun. And the idea of Doctor Who has always been he's not that hero. He doesn't just pull out his gun and shoot the enemy. He foils the villain's plot by using his wits. And if that's established and the Doctor just starts shooting Cybermen with his sonic screwdriver and blowing them up, which happens in this episode, it just feels like lazy writing. And it feels like lazy writing because it's lazy writing. There's seriously a Dragon Ball Z scene where the Doctor, Missy, and the Master and Cyberman Bill are blasting another Cyberman with all their colourful beams.
We're not gonna get out of this one, are we?
Missy and the Master early on start shooting all of these Cybermen. It's like with their sonic screwdrivers. I mean, the Doctor does download a program into his sonic screwdriver from Nardor's laptop to be able to blow up the Cyberman. Yes! That's as stupid as it sounds in the show. They've already established in the episode before this that 90% of the Doctor's sonic screwdriver is a texter, so now how is it a fucking gun? Also, with all these emotionally forced scenes, the music is so cliche and it just really breaks the immersion for me. I mean, it's like this stupid classical symphonic score, but it's so cliched. It's like, if it's sad, we'll play a minor scale and violins. And if it's uplifting, we'll get the whole band to play a pumpy major scale. It was just like, oh no. No more talking scenes. Make me feel emotions. Don't tell me what emotions I'm supposed to be feeling.
Without hope, without witness, without reward, stand with me. It's all I've ever wanted.
No, please stop. Pearl Mackie does have some great scenes in this episode though, where she is given the vehicle to be able to act, and she really does a great job at acting sad and emotional and on the cusp of breaking down. Now, there was a really bad scene where I mentioned earlier that the Doctor uploads a program from Nardor's laptop to make his sonic screwdriver be able to explode things.
I am confused.
In the first scene where this is introduced, it shows what seems to be a mechanical shotgun. And through some type of Bluetooth, Nardor hacks into it with an actual laptop and enables the shotgun to like shoot exploding rounds. And I'm talking like fucking exploding rounds, like blowing up windmills and Cybermen. Now, if this gun was mechanical, you couldn't hack into it. And if it was somewhat digital, then surely it's been built with like certain components which will enable it to fire a certain level of energy, and if you override that and max out that ability, surely the gun would be more likely to malfunction or overheat or explode itself. It's just like, oh, lazy writing, lazy writing. Here come the Cybermen, what are we gonna do? How about everyone's farming shotguns has explosive rounds? Wit Stephen Moffat. Outwit the Cybermen. Don't blow them up. Stop showing me explosions. I didn't come here for a Transformers movie. Not a fan of Michael Bay. I don't want to see endless explosions. They weren't even good explosions. They were horribly executed explosions. I don't want to see explosions. Show me wit. Show me dialogue. Show me character. Show me sci-fi storylines.
Well, no, Apocalypse. The Doctor is trapped at the wrong end of time.
And there's a scene where this girl throws an apple into a group of Cybermen and it explodes and destroys them all. And then it cuts to Nardor on his laptop. It's like, I don't know whether that was a bomb or an apple. Like, can Nardor just literally hack into fruit now and make them explosives? It didn't even show us that it was a bomb. It was literally just an apple. Then Nardor makes some terrible pun about, oh, Apple upgrades, like Apple the company, but it's a piece of fruit. It was just like, so, what the fuck is going on here? Who wrote this?
Cybermen are coming.
It's exciting, isn't it?
His friend is now a Cyberman, and he's faced by not one but two of his arch enemy.
There was a moment where I thought the BBC had a competition to let some kid write this episode, but it was some like disabled kid. I was just like, what? I looked at the credits, it's like Stephen Moffat. It's like, no, Moffat, no, this is your legacy, this is your era, don't do it, man! Don't do it! The Doctor is trying to convince the Masters to join his side and help him save this farm. And Capaldi does a really amazing job. I mean, Capaldi's had some great speeches over this era, and I think he is really great at just delivering dialogue, just having monologues. He shows that in the thick of it as well. Once again, it was just kind of jarring. I didn't think it was written very well. I mean, there's literally a point where he's like, I stand for justice and peace and liberty and protecting the little guy. because it's not easy, it's what I choose to do. Obviously, Capaldi did the best with the material that he had. If I was Capaldi and I got that script, I would have been like, thank fuck, I'm leaving. So the basic ending of this episode is that the Doc decides to stay and blow up this entire floor of the ship because there are fuel lines localized near it. So all these dumb kids can escape. And he does this, and the entire floor of this spaceship explodes.
Bang!
And all the Cybermen and buildings and trees are completely destroyed. And then it cuts to the Doctor just laying there with his clothes slightly charred. And Bill's a Cyberman. And she's just been in this explosion and it's destroyed all the other Cybermen. But she's fine. It's just like all these really little plotline story things which just really broke it for me. And all these plot holes everywhere. It's like just been carelessly written like George Lucas had written it or something. That's who they should get to do the new season of Doctor Who. George Lucas, a blue screen, and nothing else. So it's a really cool idea, in my opinion, to have Missy and John Sims' master in the same episode. But really, there's only a few scenes with them, and then Missy decides to kill the master because, I'm standing with the Doctor now! And then John Sim, once again, shoots his sonic screwdriver at Missy and kills her. It's like some Shakespearean thing where everyone kills each other and everyone dies at the end. First of all, why is a sonic screwdriver a gun? Second of all, John Sims is like, oh, I hit you with the full blast, you can't regenerate now. It's like, what? The Doctor has always, like, brutally died a minute regenerate. I mean, in this episode, like, 8 Cybermen shoot the Doctor, an entire floor of the ship explodes, and that doesn't even kill him, and he doesn't even regenerate yet. His biology is so close to human that a gunshot kills him, right? And now he's surviving Cybermen, weaponry attacks, and can survive explosions with nothing. Does Stephen Moffat know who the Doctor is? So I think the Master and Missy thing was underutilized, and I don't understand why they killed each other.
I am confused.
So Bill, as a Cyberman, walks up to the Doctor and says a farewell. And it cues the cliched music. Let's have a violin playing a minor scale right now. That'd be great. That'd just make the scene amazing if a violin played a minor scale right now while Bill and Doctor were having an emotional speech. That'd be great if the violin section, let's just get all the string section, come in and play a really cliche string section. That'd be amazing. It'd be a minor scale and it'd be so good. It'd just be fucking amazing when I heard that. So what did I like about this episode? I thought John Sims' jacket looked really nice. I enjoy seeing Peter Capaldi on screen. I like the idea that Stephen Moffat is only going to write one more episode of Doctor Who and be gone forever.
It's never been more deadly than this.
This was worse than Alien Covenant! And that's saying something. So after the wet lady from the first episode of this season magically takes Bill and turns her into one of her race because she can rearrange atoms into whatever she wants, Bill and this lady just find their way into the TARDIS somehow. We don't see that scene. Then shows a scene of this lady like at the controls of the TARDIS, and Bill's like, oh, how can you fly the TARDIS? And Stephen Moffat wrote himself to that point, and he's just like, oh, fuck. How can she fly the TARDIS? I've established that it's hard to fly the TARDIS and not many people can do it, and not even the Doctor a lot of the time. And she's just like, I'm a pilot, I can fly anything. And Stephen Moffat's like, oh yeah, that was a funny line, that worked. Good job, Stephen. And then, I don't know, I guess he watched EastEnders or something, and he just handed the first draft of the script into the BBC. I don't even know if he reread it. I think it was just a first draft.
Never stand with the Doctor!
Stephen, you just had a year off doing that Sherlock schlock. Write good scripts. No, don't worry, it's too late, your era's over, you fucked up, man! So David Bradley, who played William Hartnell in An Adventure in Time and Space, rocks up at the end of this episode as the first Doctor. And I really liked An Adventure in Time and Space. It premiered the same time as Doctor Who 50th Anniversary, what was it called? Whatever it was called. And I actually liked that more than the 50th Anniversary episode with David Tennant and Matt Smith. In conclusion, this was a real disappointment for me. Based on the previous episode, I was looking forward to this, and I sat down in it, and there were just so many little plot points which just broke the immersion for me, and nothing really happened. There wasn't really a storyline. It was just void of narrative, and it was just endless, really forced emotional speech after really forced, emotional, non-invoking speech. That's sad, you know. I had mixed feelings about Stephen, and I didn't want him to fail. I didn't want him to be looked back in retrospect as that terrible Doctor Who writer. I don't know. He's done good, and he's done fucking terrible. I don't know if he will become that. Also, it's really heartbreaking for me that this was Peter Capaldi's run. I love Peter Capaldi. He did a great job, and I really liked his Doctor. Unfortunately, his Doctor fell in the Stephen Moffat era. Now, I know that Stephen Moffat wrote his Doctor, and Stephen Moffat cast him, so I gotta give Stephen kudos to that, but you can't write bad episodes. You can't write lazy plot lines. You can't force this shit. Fuck it. Thank you for watching. And it would really help out if you could like, subscribe, and write angry hate mail to Stephen Moffat. Thank you, and good night.